Hey guys, it's good to be back with you. So my definitions, addiction first. So to me, addiction happens anytime a desire or a compulsion that we have toward a substance, stimulant, or a behavior becomes so overpowering that it controls our mind, heart, our will, and it removes our capacity to live fully and to love well. Bondage to me is anything that enslaves us and destroys our God-given freedom. It's anything that reduces our value or reduces our humanity. It's any time that something that is not meant to control us as humans, because we were made in God's image, made to rule. But anytime anything underneath that begins to take over and become master over us, we are in bondage to that thing. Recovery, to me, is a process. It's like a slow untangling of the tentacles and the hold that addiction has on our heart and on our life. And to me, recovery is about a journey toward freedom from the hold of sin. And it's a journey that liberates us, again, slowly. It's a process. It liberates our soul so that we can receive God's grace and his love, and then in turn, give that back to others and live the full life that God has called us to live. And then deliverance. Deliverance to me is an act of the Holy Spirit done through his power that rescues us fully and completely and restores in us the image of God that we are supposed to have. It's that theosis, that participation in God that we were meant to have all along. It is when the Holy Spirit's power comes upon us and restores that in us again. Have I ever known anyone who has recovered from addiction or delivered from bondage to sin? Actually, one of the most recent examples is a young lady named Chastity, who was the first person that we had the privilege of baptizing when we moved to Iola. And then not long after, the enemy just attacked her with a barrage of things, and she became addicted to meth and caught up in sex trafficking and just completely and totally lost control of her life. And thankfully, through persistent love, showing her that we were there for her, but also not going to enable her, the Holy Spirit's power just rescued from that, gave her the courage to flee Iola and find her way out to a recovery center out in California. And since then, she is over 7 months clean, I believe, by now, and just doing worlds better. She joined us recently over Zoom for a watershed meeting, and is just a completely different person. You can tell that God has just radically transformed her heart, mind, body, and soul. And it is just an amazing thing to see, and a huge answer to prayer, and a testimony to what the Holy Spirit can do when he gets a hold of someone's heart and life. Did the church that I grew up in make recovery and deliverance and ministry priority? I would say no. This was not a huge priority in the churches that I grew up in and was influenced by. It just wasn't something that was focused on. If anything, I feel like people who were struggling with addiction and bondage were just seen more as outliers and outcasts. Not really what, there just really wasn't a place for people who were struggling like that. And does the church that I currently minister in, does the Watershed currently make recovery and deliverance a priority? I would say definitely we do, definitely for those who come to us who are in the midst of that and who are struggling. But something that struck me in our reading this week was that we can be addicted to a lot of things. We tend to relegate addiction to things like substance abuse, alcohol, and drugs, and forget that there are all kinds of addictions and idols that can crop up in our lives. And so I'm really intrigued about delving into that a little bit more, and perhaps making delivery and recovery more of a focus for not just people who are struggling with the big things that we label the big things, but for everyone to take stock of their life, and including me, to ask, man, is there something in my life that I'm addicted to, that has bondage over me, that is preventing me from living the full and abundant life God has called me to live? Blessings. Thanks for listening. I look forward to the rest of the semester with you guys. Bye.